The Word of God on abortion. A life taken is a life lost to the betterment of mankind. Abortion is murder. I oppose the taking of the unborn life. Still, those of you who take it upon yourself to murder the people who perform abortions are 1,000 times more reprehensible than the abortionist. You argue that you are preserving hundreds of lives by taking one. This is convoluted and dangerous thinking. Having said that abortion is murder, I must first elucidate my position to you as creator so you understand why I strongly oppose abortion. Life should be precious to you as it is to me, but I will not agonize over the loss of life to an unborn child. Life in my universe is abundant. It will always be formed anew and then perish. As the master parent of all life in the universe, I choose to establish the conditions to preserve life. I have never purposely taken the life of any of my creations, although I recognize that forces in the universe do randomly extinguish life in an effort to establish equilibrium. If you, as parent, feel that bringing your child into the world would cause and inflict bearable hardship or pain upon yourself or others and decide to terminate a life, there will be no eternal consequences to face. In truth, there is no judgment. I only proclaim life is precious and should be celebrated. The reasons for deciding on an abortion are almost always made for selfish reasons, often by an immature parent, or because the birth of the child will result in a major inconvenience in your own life, which is again to say, for selfish reasons. On those rare occasions where aborting the child is necessary to preserve the life of the mother, abortion is justifiable. One should never jeopardize their own life, even for this most extraordinary and selfless reason for bringing a new life into the world. The decision whether or not to abort a new life is among the most difficult decisions made by my creations. I have given all humans a conscience. You are all programmed with the will to naturally gravitate toward life, since the taking of life is evil and good will ultimately defeat evil. 2/3 of the world's women may legally obtain an abortion today on request or for a broad range of social, economic, or personal reasons. Some of your nations of Eastern Europe, including Russia and Romania, have abortion rates exceeding 60%, since effective birth control is in short supply there. This liberalization has succeeded in its intent to give women access to safe abortions, and has lowered the rates of pregnancy-related complications, deaths, and infanticide. This alone is a powerful argument for allowing legal abortions. When abortion is illegal, there will always be less safe alternatives. Where abortion is now prohibited, illegal abortion remains a serious health problem. Much of Muslim Asia, Latin America, and Africa suffer this situation. The methods of illegal abortion vary somewhat from culture to culture. African women may look for abortion from midwives or traditional healers who hope to induce uterine contractions by inserting plant roots, leaves, or twigs into the cervix. Distressed women from Zambia and other locales may attempt to self-induce labor by drinking detergent or gasoline or taking an overdose of medicines known to cause violent contractions. In rural Indonesia and Thailand, rigorous abdominal beating is the method most often used. In Latin America, hangers, knitting needle, caustic substances, and other toxic imbibitions or drugs are used to induce spontaneous abortions. Today, many Western countries have access to the abortion pill, RU486. This has made the non-clinical act of abortion easier to perform but does nothing to eliminate the psychological pain of the decision. The decision to abort a life is never so simple as to impact only the mother. There are situations where the father of the child is willing to accept responsibility for the child's upbringing, even if apart from the mother. Does he not have that right? There are times when grandparents, seeking their link to posterity, destroyed, endeavor to assume the responsibility for the child's life. Are grandparents removed from the choice of the mother? The laws of the United States do not recognize the right of a father to stop the abortion of his own child, but rather place that decision exclusively with the mother. In China, a new law on abortion gives fathers the right to veto abortion decisions made by their wives. Should a woman endure the long term of pregnancy, the pain and the possible dangers of childbirth, and the traumatic psychological effects of giving her child to another, even if that other is the child's father or grandparents? Let me say clearly and without ambiguity that the answer is yes. Life should never be aborted where the child's direct or indirect biological link is willing and able to raise the child in a secure and loving environment. There should be no debate as to the question of a loving and secure environment, only the commitment to do so. The child conceived by two must not be destroyed by one. Women elect to abort a child for many reasons. Abortion is even used as a method of birth control. Some mothers are so young that they are incapable of providing the financial and emotional stability necessary to raise a child. In more developed countries, welfare states are created to care for the basic needs of these children. The majority of young women worldwide become sexually active during their teenage years. Nearly 2/3 of women in Latin America and Caribbean countries, 3/4 or more in much of the developed world, and more than 90% of adolescents in many sub-Saharan African countries engage in sexual activity. Some societies expect women to begin having sex during these years because their society desires they marry and begin childbearing at an early age. In other countries, marriage occurs later, but premarital sex is common and accepted. Some societies are in transition from one social norm to another. Even mature women have unplanned pregnancies. The birth of a child may deter their professional advancement, their income-earning capabilities, or impact their freedom to work. I note that some married women become pregnant outside their own marriage, and this, besides being a moral plight, forces the decision to abort the pregnancy. I acknowledge that married women already raising large families sometimes find themselves conceiving yet another child for which they did not plan. Again, I say these are powerful reasons to abort life in the mind of the woman, but all these decisions are for selfish reasons brought about through carelessness or lust. The truly mature woman would need to gather the strength to bear, love, and nurture the child she herself conceived. The future rewards will ultimately outweigh the present hardships.